it sure felt like a playoff game to me last night. It felt like it. It sounded like it. And not just the crowd there, but it sounded like it because almost, as I said in the first hour, every hit ended with a thump. And a man who personifies that, and I'm not just saying that because he said he would call into this show, the man who personifies that and a perennial Pro Bowler who's on a Hall of Fame trajectory in my mind. His name is Bobby Wagner, kind enough to call in a day after a huge Monday night victory for the Seahawks in Santa Clara. How are you, Bobby?
I'm doing good. How are you?
That felt like a playoff game. How about you?
It definitely felt like a playoff game. You know, you felt the defense was doing great, offense was making plays, the crowd was loud, the energy in the building was crazy. Obviously, the game was crazy. So, I mean, it felt great.
Now, again, it just, like I said, every hit seemed to end with a thump, whether it was you and your mates or the 49ers that way as well. When did you begin to feel like it was that type of an atmosphere and that type of game, Bobby?
I mean, I think you knew it coming into the game, seeing how their defense played, seeing how we wanted to play. We felt like we had to be, a lot more physical to kind of affect their offense. And so, from the very beginning, we felt like we were coming out and we were going to try to hit, and we knew they were going to try to hit. And it was kind of just, who was going to hit the most. And, it was a really fun game to play in. We went to overtime down to the last, second. So it's one of those games you definitely going to remember. It was a good win for our team to go into the bye week. So, it was one of those games we knew, like, the more physical team was going to be the one to win.
And, man, it was so physical for sure. Let's parse this out a little bit here. You had a front row seat for Jadeveon Clowney. Best game, obviously, that he's had with your team. Many folks are saying it may be the best game he's had, period. What do you think clicked for him last night that might be repeatable moving forward, Bobby?
I just think he finally got to the quarterback. I think, when you watch the games prior to, it wasn't like he wasn't, making good moves or doing this. It's just the quarterbacks were getting the ball out before he can get the sack. But he was getting a lot of QB hits. And so, we did a pretty good job in the back end making Garoppolo hold the ball a little bit more, allowed time for the D lineman to get there, especially him, and when he's in the backfield, all it takes is, one or two hits, and you could just feel his energy, feel him, turning it up a notch, and that's exactly what he did. It seemed like he was around the quarterback or hitting the quarterback almost every play they try to drop back, and, we were able to get some sacks, we were able to get some fumbles, create some turnovers, and that's how our defense is supposed to look.
Bobby Wagner, Seattle Seahawks linebacker, just fresh off of the plane back from Santa Clara, off of a dynamite Monday night overtime win for Seattle right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Do you watch Russell from your position at all, or what are you doing when the offense is out there on the field?
No, you definitely, you try to go back to the sidelines and you look over the plays that you had in the series that you were in. But once you're done with that, you kind of get up and you want to support the offense. And, you get a chance to watch Russell do some of the amazing things that he was doing. And it's just crazy when we're in those positions where it's fourth quarter or overtime. We have so much confidence in him and his ability to make plays because, for myself and KJ and guys that's been around and seen him do it for many years, it's kind of something that we've grown accustomed to because we know, how much confidence that we have in him. And so it's kind of cool to see like the younger guys or, younger guys that haven't necessarily seen it, how they're, kind of sitting on the edge of their seats and we're kind of, calm because we've seen this picture before.
Well, it's interesting, too, from my perspective, Bobby, since obviously I've been following this team since before Russell and you arrived, and now that Russell used to be the young guy. He used to be the young guy that everybody was depending on, but maybe not as vocal as everybody else in the locker room and representing the entire team in a way because there were so many other alpha males in the room. I wonder what your perspective of his change in role or his change in anything, because this appears to be his team right now, Bobby.
He's always been a leader. He's always led by, led in the way that he felt was the best, and that's what works for us. And like you said, we had a lot of guys that were alpha males, guys that are a little bit more outspoken and in your face than he may have was. But just because that was going on doesn't mean that he wasn't doing things behind the scenes or being a leader. And I think that's grown, especially as he's grown from not being the young guy to being the older guy, and trying to get guys to understand what does it take to be a championship team. And he's done a great job in leading the guys on that end, and we're happy. I think.
And what about the fact that you, Bobby, and Russell, you were drafted, same draft, just one round apart, that now, and you mentioned KJ Wright, and I'm sure there are some other guys that have been there around for a bit, but from the Legion of Boom era, where you went to back-to-back Super Bowls, to now, the transition appears to have been seamless, which is so rare in the NFL. What has been your role in being, I guess, an extension of Coach Carroll's mantra, or what you believe to be a Seahawk way in that locker room?
Yeah, I think my role, as well as KJ's and Russ's role, is to, like you said, be an extension, but provide that leadership, provide that guidance, because we kind of been through some seasons. We've had seasons where we started off terrible. We have seasons where we started off good, but we always finish really, really well. And so I think our job, especially on my end, is to show the guys what it takes to be a professional, show the guys what it takes to be a good player, and show them what did we do to get to that level? What did we do to have the success that we were having? And especially on my end, I think a lot of times when you come in into a new situation and you're seeing Sherm gone and Earl gone and Cam gone and Mike Bennett and Cliff and so on and so forth, you sometimes feel like you have to step in and be those guys. And I think, it's just important for me to say it wasn't always like that. Sherm didn't just walk into the league and he was like that. It took time for him to turn into that player. And so, but he put the work in. So reminding those guys to put the work in and be the best version of yourself, and we'll be just fine. And so we got a great leader on the offensive side of the ball. We got great leaders on the defense side of the ball, and I feel like that's why we were able to transition as well as we have.
Bobby Wagner, a few more minutes left with the Seahawks linebacker, fresh off of an overtime victory over the 49ers, handing the 49ers their first loss of the season right here on the Rich Eisen Show. You told my colleague at the NFL Network, Jim Trotter, that you and KJ were beginning to sniff out some of the checks of Jimmy G. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's football, man. You sit there, especially on the defensive side of the ball. At home, our crowd is so amazing and so loud. It's not always, we don't always get to hear every check that they make. But when we're on the road, it's quiet because they want the offense to be able to communicate. So we're able to just kind of listen and really get a good feel for where they were going, because this is one of the harder teams when you watch film to pick up on anything tendency-wise, because they have so many different plays and they run so many different routes. They have so many different complementary plays to each one of their plays that they have. But we felt like we were able to hear them pretty well and start getting a feel for the way the linemen were setting, the way the fullback was setting, and we felt like it started to help us towards once we got that going. The
guys in the booth for Monday night were saying, or at least Booger for sure, said that Jimmy G looked rattled in the overtime. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, we definitely felt like, when you have, I think Clowney had 10 hits himself, I believe. When you applying that type of pressure on the quarterback and getting in his face every so often, it makes it hard for a quarterback to just sit there and just throw the ball. I felt like we did a really good job in the back end on, picking up the routes and, seeing where he was trying to get the ball. We had a lot of picks that we should have had. And so hopefully next time we play them, we actually come down with those.
All right, and then just a couple of cleanup items before I send you on into your bye week, Bobby. Did you bet Laker tickets with Richard Sherman on last night's game? Is that a true story?
This is a story. We were going to, whoever lost had to get the tickets. So
okay, which game do we know? Which game?
We don't know yet. We're just gonna go to the game.
And I assume it's it's courtside, right? I mean, we're not messing around here, correct?
It's Richard Sherman. So I'm expecting something crazy.
No. All I'm saying is it's two guys who negotiated their own contracts and making a ton of money because you're definitely not paying anybody any fees for anything. You should be able to get some
from the money
tickets.
that we've saved, from agent fees, we definitely could make something really good happen.
Okay, so you guys are going to you're going to the game together, but
oh yeah, for sure.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. It's a win-win. It's a win-win. We'll go to the game, and we were huge Laker fans.
Okay,
we were with them when they wasn't doing so well, and so now it seems like we've been to a couple games, but now they're top of the division. It's a really fun time, and we definitely want to try to catch a game.
So if you know about rivalries, which you know very well, I mean, you're not concerned about the Clippers? You don't want to go to a Clippers game? I mean, Kawhi and Paul George coming back.
Clippers gotta do it first. They got, you know what I'm saying? Like it's cool. They got all the talent and all that stuff, but they gotta succeed for at least one season. Everybody's crowning them before they even put an 82 game schedule in. They could go to the playoffs. They could choke. We don't know. So Lakers, we obviously have history of winning multiple championships. So let the Clippers win one first.
Okay. All right. I respect that. Certainly, since somebody who just walked it in front of the whole country can see, you can talk it for sure like that.
Well, yeah. Kawhi is definitely a person that can talk to that.
Yes.
It's kind of funny. I was on Twitter a couple weeks ago. Somebody sent me a picture. I didn't realize that I played him in high school.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I'll try to send you the picture. But yeah,
please do.
Like we were like boxing. I was boxing him out or something. So it was kind of funny.
You boxed out Boardman? Is that what you're saying in high school?
I don't know if I got the rebound though. But there's no video, so I'm just gonna assume that I got the rebound.
You know what? I think you should just say yes. Story. You should just say that you did get the rebound. That's fine. I don't think
that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with. Let's just make some numbers up because they probably wouldn't keep in stats. Let's just say I had a triple double. 20, 20, and 20.
Right, I like it. Let's just keep getting bigger. Last one for you. Were you out at the coin toss for overtime, Bobby? Were you out there?
No, that was Gino.
Okay. No, I just didn't know. He went out by himself, huh? He went out by himself for the coin toss. You do realize people think he said tails, and you got the ball awarded to you incorrectly. Are you aware of that, Bobby?
No, well, I mean, I wasn't aware of it, but I'm pretty sure people try to find ways to be mad when they lose. So just go ahead, take the L. We'll see them again, and make sure he's mic'd up when he does the coin toss if we get into overtime again.
Okay, and it's double or nothing with Richard for Week 17, right? Maybe 2 Lakers games. What do we got?
Maybe something else.
Okay,
maybe something else.
Bobby, I really appreciate you calling in, taking the time with your bye week, and then after that game, like I said, you're one of my favorites, and I appreciate you doing this immensely.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on anytime, man. I always love being on your show.
And I appreciate you saying that. You always have a place here, just like you do in the middle of that Seahawks defense. That's Bobby Wagner, linebacker, fresh off of the big win last night in San Francisco, right here on The Rich Eisen Show.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.